So we're just about that time. So, so we are talking about NFTs today. So Leslie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Leslie. I'm a photographer of about 30 years now, and I just got into NFTs about November of last year, and I minted my first ones December 1st. So that's what I've been up to. I do photojournalism, I do storm chasing, I do boudoir, creative portraits, everything except for babies and landscapes and astrophotography.
Great. And Vlad, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Vladimiro from Portugal, living in Norway at the moment. I'm a former 3D and 2D artist, now a photographer. I've been in the cryptocurrency and NFT space for the last 8 months, and I minted my first piece 3 months ago.
Great. Excellent. So jump back in. So I guess I'll start with my question. Is that good, Leslie?
Sure, that works.
So I'm just kind of intrigued by the lingo. So, like, what is it called to show your work, sell your work, and when it is sold? How is that different from those direct terms?
Okay, well, first of all, for lingo, you need to learn GM, because so GM, everybody, you'll hear that in all the spaces, you'll see it in all the tweets and stuff like that. When it comes to showing your work, it's called shill. You shill your work, you're shilling your work. And then, as far as, I mean, I'm still fairly new to this. As far as selling and stuff like that, I don't know that there's actual lingo. Vlad, is there lingo for that?
No, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what about what does minting mean?
Oh, okay. Yeah, we were going to go into that. So minting is when you actually take your image and you digitize it into the NFT world. It becomes an NFT, and that's minting. And then when you go to sell it, that's called listing. So
Great.
it's two different things.
Great. Great.
Yeah.
And then we have a question from Stefan. So, Leslie, how did you get started with this fast paced, intriguing, and complex crypto market?
So yeah, so I guess I've been on Twitter since 2008, but I've really only used it to check, news and stuff like that. I wasn't very active. I never really posted much. And then I did follow some storm chasers since I'm a storm chaser. And all of a sudden, I kept seeing this stuff come across my feed about NFTs, NFTs, NFTs. And it got more and more. And pretty soon, at least half of my feed was nothing but NFTs. And I saw a friend of mine, a friend from the virtual world, Jessica, who's a storm chaser. She goes by Doppler Jess, and she had entered the world of NFTs, and she seemed to be doing really well. She was selling her work, and I thought, okay, I'll just keep an eye on this for a while. And I was really worried about it because I literally had no idea what an NFT was. I didn't understand it at all. Even when I read about it, it still confused the heck out of me. I had never done cryptocurrency in my life, didn't even know how to do cryptocurrency. So I was really afraid to enter this world. And then I just started seeing it again more and more, and seeing some other friends of mine doing it. So I decided to go ahead and start looking into it more. And I started, reading. I started watching my friends, and then I talked to Jessica, and she said, she would help me out a bit and stuff like that. And I had some other friends that kind of helped me out, and so that's how I ended up getting started in it. I knew it was where photography was going, and either you did it or you got left behind, and I didn't want to be left behind, and I wanted to be able to do the kind of work that I want to do, and basically work for myself and do the art that I want to do, and not work for somebody, not work for clients necessarily. I've done that for so long, and I wanted to just do my own thing. So that's how I ended up getting into it.
Great. And from that, I wanted to ask Vlad, how did you get into it as well?
Well, me was a little like Leslie. When I start doing more photography, I try to work on the platforms that are most common to everyone, Facebook, Instagram, but with no much results. I changed to Twitter because I heard that Twitter was the space for photography, and when I did the change, the NFT came along with it because, like Leslie said, the photography and the NFT are have a very good communion because we have a chance to promote our works, to gain visibility, and to work as an independently and sell our works as an NFT and being minted forever in the blockchain. So
Great. Great. And Jerry says, I think you should take a moment and explain the term NFT.
Okay. So NFT is non-fungible token, which basically means it's unique. It cannot be replaced. So if you have a JPEG, a digital file, you will mint it as an NFT, and you basically have proof of ownership, and that's a token, and that token goes onto the blockchain, and it's a proof of authenticity that what you are selling is original. So like if you go to a museum, for instance, there's original artwork, and you can take a snapshot, you can do that, you can you buy a poster of it, you can print it out, but you don't have the original. It's not authentic. You're not owning anything, the actual original of it. And so with an NFT, you basically authenticate the digital copy, like a print kind of, and saying this is original, and then that goes onto the blockchain, not the image itself, but the certificate of authenticity, and that goes onto the blockchain, and that from there it traces, it's on there permanently forever. It cannot be duplicated, it cannot be changed in any way. It's unique, and you can always trace back the ownership, each ownership of that NFT, if that makes sense at all.
Great. And then I have a question interrelated to that. If you're selling your work and, someone buys this NFT from you, can you use that image can you sell it to somebody else? Can you use it for another advertising issue? Can you use it in general? Or do
Yes.
they have
So
sole ownership?
no. So just like a print, they can take that print, they can display it. They cannot use it for commercial uses. They can turn around and sell that print. Same thing with an NFT. You keep your full copyright of your image. You can do whatever you want. You cannot sell it again as an NFT. You can make multiple editions of it to sell. That is established at the beginning. When you go to mint your NFT, you establish how many editions, if it's a 1 of 1, a 1 of 10, and stuff like that. So you say in the beginning how many editions you have of it. And then, but you retain your full copyright of that. So I can sell prints if I want to, do whatever I want with it. I can use it for commercial purposes. They just cannot do that unless
Right.
you give them permission to do that in your contract.
Great. And Ron asked, do you have to be on Twitter to sell NFTs?
You don't have to be on Twitter, but it's highly suggested. I literally spend hours a day on Twitter. This is not something, I mean, if you have a huge following, perhaps you can sell fairly quickly. I know some people have, but it's very difficult even for those people who have huge followings. You really have to become part of the community, and most of that community is on Twitter. Now, I've heard people also marketing their NFTs on Reddit and stuff like that, places like that, but Twitter is really it's basically where it's at. It's huge. Twitter has basically become for mostly for NFTs nowadays. It's crazy.
Great. So Stefan asks, going to ask the big question: can we make real money from this, not just cryptocurrency? How does that work?
Yes, for sure you can. So when you sell, like I'm on the Ethereum blockchain. So when I sell in Ethereum, and there's you can the amount of money you can make is endless, really. I mean, Justin Naversano made $3 million. So I've um, you can, once you make the sale, it goes into your MetaMask. Like I use MetaMask, so that's your wallet, and from there I can transfer it back into Coinbase and into US dollars. So you definitely can make money. People have paid off houses and everything else doing it. So there's a lot of money that can be made. Is it easy? No, it's not easy in any way. So don't ever think you're going to go in and try and make easy money. And people also, you need to be very authentic on there. And if you're not in it for the long run, if you're just going to try and go in, make some money and get out, people can see through that, the collectors and stuff like that. So it's really, you really need to be in it for the long run, and not just a quick buck, because it's not a quick process by any means.
Right. Very good. And so Stefan's asking all the great questions. So Stefan asks, so what are the first steps in creating and minting an NFT?
Okay, so the first step, choose an image that you want. But before you even get into that, the first step is to find your community on Twitter. I made the mistake. I had built up my community, and I knew I had to do that before I got into it. So I did build it up, but not enough. But once you build up your community, your supporters, and you're supporting people and stuff like that, it's such a great community because everybody is so supportive of each other. We tag each other. We constantly, compliment each other's work, and give so much support. And so once you get to that point where you feel like you've really got your community, then you will go and select what you want to mint. There's different platforms you can go on. Some platforms like OpenC, which is huge, is a lot less expensive, and anybody can join OpenC, which is the nice thing about it. And I suggest, if you're new to it and you really don't know what you're doing, like me, is to start on some place like OpenC, or another platform. OpenC is nice because you pay a one-time fee. It's called, you're doing lazy minting, so you don't pay gas fee every single time you put an image up on there. So you pay a one-time fee when you first get on there, and you can make as many collections and put as many images in it as you want. Now, they did come out with something just recently saying that they were going to limit the amount of collections, and they were going to limit the amount of images within a collection, of NFTs within a collection, not images, sorry, because NFTs can be anything, especially on OpenSea. And but they have since reversed that, so we don't have to worry about that on there. The nice thing about OpenSea is if you make a mistake, you can either delete your image, you can delete your gallery, you can correct your mistakes, and that's wonderful. Now, there's other platforms, like Foundation, which is, I have my stuff on OpenSea and Foundation. Foundation, you need an invite. And once you get an invite, and see, I got my invite fairly quickly, and I made the mistake of minting on Foundation first because I knew it was more exclusive, and that was one of the big platforms to be on. So I thought, oh, I've got to do my work there. Well, foundation is very expensive. You pay for your collection if you're doing a collection. You pay for you pay a gas fee for that, and we can talk about what gas fee is. Basically, gas fee um, is is the payment for people that work behind the scenes to make the blockchain and everything working. And so you pay a gas fee for your collection. Then each image that you put into your collection, you pay a minting fee and you pay a listing fee. So, and depending on the price of gas, which goes up and down constantly, it depends on the market. When I first did it, it didn't dawn on me how much it fluctuated, gas fees. So I did it in the daytime when gas was $150. So I paid $150 to list each to mint each image and $150 to sell each image, so $300 per image. And then if you make any mistakes on foundation, you can't go back and correct it. So what you have to do, you have to go and burn that image and delete it, and that each costs a fee. And then you have to relist it and remint it and relist it, which costs gas fees each time.
Wow.
So anyway, so you take your image and you will figure out which platform you want to go on. Once you've got that figured out, then you will upload your image to the platform. Your certificate of authenticity, your token goes onto the blockchain, not your actual image. You mint that, and then once it's minted, it's that certificate of authenticity is on the blockchain forever. And then from there, you can decide if you want to sell it or not. So the next step would be to sell it. When you sell it, it just depends on the platform. On Foundation, it goes into an auction. So you have a reserve. So you have to choose your reserve. Once you choose your reserve, then you have to also choose your royalties. How much royalty? For a foundation, it's typically, I think, 10%. The mistake I made with OpenC, I didn't connect my wallet for royalties. I didn't add my own royalties. For OpenC, you have to actually add in your royalties, and I didn't do that. Now, luckily with OpenC, I can go back and correct that, so I get paid each time. And then once you do all that, you list it, and then it goes live, and then you promote it.
Great. Yeah, lots of questions coming in. So, do NFTs take the place of copywriting?
Vlad, you want to answer some? I'm sorry, I've been talking so much.
I don't understand what the question. Take the place of copywriting.
Do NFTs take the place of copywriting? Yeah. I guess wondering like if someone puts out an NFT, do they? It's automatically copyrighted. Maybe that's what they're suggesting.
No, I mean when you buy an NFT, JPEG, video, whatever type of media that is considered the NFT when it was minted, you have only the rights to that NFT in particular. You don't have the rights for that images. For example, there's an example that it's given all the time. It's the Mona Lisa. We take a photo of the Mona Lisa painting. We don't own that JPEG, our photo. We don't own any rights for the Mona Lisa, so we can't make shirts of it. We can't make posters. We can do it for us, but we can't put it in a store to sell using that image. In the NFTs, it's the same thing. When you buy an NFT, you have the rights to that NFT. You own that NFT. That's that data and contract on the blockchain. But just that, you don't own any rights for that. More to that. So the artist that creates the content itself, it will always be secure that he have the full rights to the media that he converted to an NFT.
Great. So, Barbara asks, are there specific hashtags one should use on Twitter? I guess to be found, to sell, to be connected, and how to know who to follow. Good question.
Okay, so as far as hashtags, there's been a bunch of debate about that. First of all, don't put more than 2 or 3 hashtags. Most of the time, I don't hashtag, and the hashtags vary. You don't want, usually you want to put NFT, like if it's photography, NFT photography, NFT photographer. If you do NFT collector, be careful because a lot of times that can attract bots, and you don't want that. So I would kind of avoid that. Now, when the House of Medici came about, House of Medici is Cosimo Medici, and that is AKA Snoop Dogg. And when his people there's about 1,100 of Medicis on Twitter, and when they came out, they started buying things, and you would see people selling out whole collections because House of Medici was buying them. So you've got to kind of watch for stuff like that. So we were all hashtagging House of Medici, and then it became House of Lit. So we all hashtag House of Lit. And it's a good thing because I ended up selling one of my NFTs to a Medici. So sometimes they work, sometimes people don't feel like they work at all, but I felt like in that way they do work. And there's certain times where they do like either contests or some galleries will be asking you to submit, and you submit actually via hashtags. So keep an eye out for that as well. As far as who to follow, really, I mean, I follow such a huge variety of people. I follow collectors, I follow other artists, I follow big artists, I follow small artists. You know, I, I I follow so many different people within the NFT world because you never know where your collector is going to be. Because, like for me, I'm an artist, but I've also collected 9 NFTs. So I'm, in a sense, a collector. And a lot of artists who have done super well have also become collectors, and they're buying a lot. So you just never know where your collector is going to come from, and it may be someone you never dreamed of. So I try and follow a wide variety of people.
And then I have a basic question before we jump into the many other ones. So, um, you don't have to necessarily have a physical object, right? Like it doesn't have to be a print of something or like a movie or movie file that you send them. It can just be a JPEG, right? It doesn't have to be printed
Right.
out or
Right. Like, so for me, I do photography. So I my NFTs are I upload high res JPEGs.
right.
It just depends on, what your genre is. If it's cinemagraphs or if it's videos, it can be anything. So they can be uploaded. I don't even know what they use for like a lot of people are recording songs as well as NFTs. So I don't know what they use to upload, but for me, for photography, it's JPEGs.
Great.
Yeah,
And you were saying,
I'm sorry.
Vlad?
Yeah, I just wanted to add a little more to it. You can use or you can offer some things in conjunction with the NFT. That, for example, if you sell a photography as an NFT, you can offer the prints. If you paint and you mint your painting as an NFT, you can actually sell the painting. For example, all that things that you can offer to the side of the NFT can bring more value to the piece, to the NFT itself, than just the NFTs. It all depends of the people that will be interested in your NFT, because if you there's collectors, what we call collectors, that collect NFTs. Some don't, they only want the NFT, the date on the blockchain and the JPEG or media itself. But other people can be pleased to buy an NFT and have a painting at home that comes with an NFT. It's for in some part it's what the future of the blockchain and the smart contracts that it will, it's coming in on the with the NFTs and blockchains. It's where the future it is. In the future, you can buy an NFT, and that NFT can be a proof of something. It can give you an utility. You can buy a house and an NFT as a contract of the house. There's some musics already selling NFTs, and they give access to concerts or to like people do in Patreon. They give little niches that only that persons have access, and so on.
Interesting.
Right. Yeah. So that would be utility. And then also you can have unlockable content so that the person that buys the NFT, they get to unlock that content, and it could include your JPEG, or like Vlad was saying, a variety of other things. And that's called utility. I haven't given utility with mine at all, except for I am sending one of the collectors one of my prints. So
Great. So someone asks, what ties the NFT to the item being authenticated? Is there a URL or similar address included in the NFT to describe what's being authenticated? Or do you get some type of certification or something that, is there any process?
Well, the data of the NFT that is created in the blockchain, it will be forever stored in the blockchain. And there's different ways that you can access to that data, because everything that is on the blockchain, it's public. The wallets where the transactions that we do, the pieces itself have a let's say a serial number. It's not a serial number, but I don't know the exact word to use it. But everything is public, and you have a couple of ways to have access to that.
Great. How do you promote your work? Where? I guess you join these different kind of on-site foundation galleries and
right. So yeah, you promote your work on your gallery, but the you on your platform, that's where your work is displayed. It's kind of like a gallery. But unless you promote yourself on Twitter, no one's going to know. I mean, it's going to be kind of hard for people to find you. I mean, they can find you if they go to OpenC or Foundation and search and stuff like that. But there's a variety of different ways. You promote your work on Twitter, but a lot of people will ask you to shill your work and stuff like that. So you can shill your work. You should also, when you shill work, you should also tag other people as well. But there's something in Twitter called Spaces, and Twitter Spaces is where it's really at, and on Discord too. Now, I belong to a lot of Discords, but I don't really use them like I should. A lot of people have made a lot of sales because of Discord, and I highly suggest you do it. I need to really figure it out more. It really confuses me. But Spaces is also a huge way to get the word out, because even at first you'll probably just want to listen in Spaces, but if you can come up and talk on Spaces, they're not all the Spaces are not always for showing your work at all, but you can ask. They have collectors on, so you can ask questions to collectors, and it's where people really get to know you. And I highly suggest it. And yes, most people are scared to death when they first come up and talk on a Twitter space, especially if it's a huge room with lots of people in it. I know my first time I could barely breathe, and I still get nervous if it's a big space. So, but everybody's nervous, and if you're from another country, so many people, English is not their first language. So don't ever let that distract you, because we're all used to it. So.
and you do get used to it. Like I was on Clubhouse and even started a club there that grew pretty big. And at the first couple of times you're self-conscious, even though you say to yourself, no one can even see me. I'm just speaking. It's just audio. And then you get just kind of used to it, and then people are friendly, and it has a kind of flow of its own. Um,
Right.
Lots of questions. So Tammy asks, so OpenC is cheaper to get started on than Foundation, correct?
Yes, that's correct. It's a lot cheaper because you pay the one-time fee, and then you can put as many collections and as many images as you want in there. So I put only my best work on Foundation, because Foundation, you pay for the collection and you pay for each image to mint and to list each image in your collection. So it can get outrageous. I've spent a lot of money on Foundation. On OpenSea, I spent a one-time, I think, $250, depending on what gas is and stuff like that. On OpenSea, I've literally spent I'd say, well, I've minted a lot, so I'd say I spent $4,000, but I've also
Wow.
made a lot of mistakes that I had to correct. So that was also part of it. I mean, I
Right.
blew $2,000 in mistakes. So yeah,
Cool.
it's crazy.
So Stefan asks, if you have an image and you add sound to it and turn it into a digital file, that is also considered an NFT?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
thought
Yeah.
so. What is the downside of an NFT or NFTs?
The downside, right now, there's a big fear of what it's doing to the environment. That's a big fear, but they're working on doing clean NFTs. They're working on that. Ethereum is going to be coming out with one that doesn't that's not harmful to the environment, because the problem is it costs it uses a lot of energy to run this, a lot of energy with all the computers and stuff like that to run this. But then as a photographer, we use a lot of energy day to day being on our computers and stuff like that. So you know a lot of us are using a lot more energy than we realize, but that is one of the downsides to NFTs, and they're working on that, and that should hopefully get better and better.
Great. So someone asks, how can I decide the value of any image as a minter? So do you decide, or does the online basically gallery like OpenC decide for you?
No, you actually decide the value of your image, and that's really a tough one to know the value of your image, because I mean, there's images I've seen that are, point 0.5, 0.05 ETH, and I think they should be going for so much more. And I've seen some images go for 4 ETH, and I'm just like, why? It doesn't make sense to me. So, but hey, if they can get that, more power to them, and you really, just like with any artwork of yours, in photography, you have to decide yourself what you think you're worth. Now, when I started out with most of mine at point 0.5, and now I've got some at point 0.5 again. And keep in mind, for foundation, even if you set it at point 0.5, it can end up going so much higher because it's an auction. OpenC, my images are buy now, so you pay that price. And my first collector had actually suggested that I do 0.25 instead, and on foundation. So I changed everything, and he ended up buying. So
And is there a way that you can see what those um, percentages are? Like say zero point 0.5 one day, is it different on another day?
yes, it is.
Yeah.
It fluctuates depending on the value of Ethereum, and Vlad could probably tell you more where you could actually find that information, because he's good about that stuff.
Great.
Yeah,
Vlad.
there's
Yep.
some ways you can look up it. It works a little like with the stocks. The value of the coin, it fluctuates daily and changes by the minute.
Can you do a
So
Google search for it?
yes.
Great.
You can say ask for how much it's something in dollars to eat, or how much it's to eat at the moment. Ethereum,
Great.
so you can find it as well.
And also
Excellent.
keep in mind, it's not all, I mean, I happen to be on Ethereum blockchain, but there's others as well. There's Tezos, and there's a variety of different ones. So that's just one of the biggest ones. But there's some others that are, I think Look is really coming up. And I just haven't figured out, since I'm still fairly new to the crypto world, I haven't figured out how to buy that, because I can't buy Look on Coinbase. So, but yeah, there's a variety of different cryptocurrencies that you can use.
Great.
But
And
each platform has their own that you have to use. So like
sure.
OpenSea works with Ethereum, Foundation works with Ethereum. OpenSea will also work with Polygon, which is a lot cheaper gas. In fact, I think it's free, right? If you use Polygon, but you have to be careful of Polygon.
And they
I
all
think
define their terms on their site, correct?
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I think when people think on coming to the NFT world, they should do some research to see how they can go in on it and how it will work for them, because there's a couple of types of coins we can use from different platforms that use different type of coins. So doing research is always very important, so we can define our strategy and our plan to be successful or to have a easier entrance on the
Great.
market.
Excellent. So Erica asks, if you upload a high-res image, how do you stop people from using it or downloading it, I guess?
Well, I mean, you can never stop someone from right-clicking on it, just like you can't stop someone from taking a picture of the Mona Lisa and then going and hanging it on their wall or something like that. But that's not an authentic image. And when collectors are buying, they're buying the artist, they're buying the authenticity of it and stuff like that. So that that makes
Great.
sense.
Yep. And Ebony asks, ask Leslie if donating a percentage of profits to charity has helped her sales.
I wouldn't say it's necessarily helped my sales because a lot of people don't even know that I do that until afterwards, even though I have said it a number of times. And it is on my OpenC, I believe, about it, but I'm not sure it's even on my foundation about it. So you know, and some people, a lot of collectors, they don't really care, and then some collectors they buy because of that. So I mean, there's so many different types of collectors. It just depends on the collector. I know that there is one collector that is supporting only people that donate for nonprofits, especially if it's environmental. So, and I have not sold to that collector yet. I'm not sure why, but maybe my stuff is not what they're looking for, or maybe my nonprofits. I do a variety of different nonprofits, but in each of mine, I donate to a nonprofit. But so the theory is that I mean, in some cases it can help your sales, and in other cases not. I haven't found, particularly for me, it necessarily helps my sales because they were going to buy those images regardless.
Great. Okay. So many questions I have to follow up. Let's see. So Ron makes a comment. He says that there are a number of platforms competing with Ethereum, so minting probably won't remain expensive. Plus, Ethereum developers are working on ways to bring down the gas fees.
That's exactly right. Exactly.
Great. And
In fact,
Carl,
Sloika is one I've heard.
you're saying? Uh-oh. I think she locked up. Still there, Leslie? Well, I think, Vlad, you might have to take over on some of these next questions
Yes.
until she jumps back in. So Carl says, sounds like how you mint the NFT will vary depending on what you're authenticating. For digital art, I'm concerned with link rot. Never heard that term, but since the art itself isn't the blockchain, would you have to create and maintain a permalink and embed that in the blockchain?
Let's see if I know how to answer that. Um, well, when you mean something like we talked before, when you mean something independently of the type of media that you are doing, when when we say mint, we are creating a data on the blockchain, and when you do that, you create the certificate of authenticity. It depends a little where you are doing it, in which platform, like OpenC and Foundation have different methods to create that authentication. But mostly, if you as soon as you create your NFT, that piece, that media, it will be certified and have this data on the blockchain that will live forever till you burn it, or at least the artist that created the content itself burn it. When we say burn, the NFT, it's to erase the metadata, the blockchain data. It's to erase from there. So I don't know
Great.
if I answered the question.
Sure. Great. Let's see. Someone asks, what do you suggest for best practices to follow for beginners like this person?
Well, I think the most important part and the first steps that we should do, it's to go to Twitter. I say Twitter because it's the most common platform that people use to mark themselves and to show themselves to the possible the collectors of your artwork. So the first step that I advise is to go to Twitter, enter in the community, try to create to connect with people in a way, because it's very important in the NFT and in the Twitter space. Everyone is the same. Doesn't matter if you are a big YouTuber or a famous musician. Everyone is the same, and everything starts from you to connecting and to gather people around you, and the most inside of that sentence you are, the most chances you will have to be seen, to be known, and to from that to have to concretize yourself.
Right. So just kind of summarize before we take more questions. What I've gleaned already from this, and this has been a lot of great information, is Leslie and Vlad are both saying that it's very good to do your research. So, do the searches, find out what the going prices are for certain things, find out which online, I guess, galleries or sites that hold your NFTs and sell your NFTs can be trusted. Find out who to follow on Twitter, find out what hashtags might be good to follow on Twitter, find out, as Leslie said, what spaces on Twitter. So spaces are the audio rooms on Twitter where you can have a meeting and you can jump in and ask your questions as well. So as you get further into this, follow some good spaces that you see popping up based on who you follow on Twitter. And then the next question would be from Ron. Please explain your wallet and why it is needed. Do you want to take that away, Leslie?
Sure. So basically, uh, I buy my Ethereum on Coinbase, and from there, you can transfer that to a wallet. Your wallet is what you will be using to connect to the different platforms that you sell on. Your wallet is it's very useful for a variety of things. If there's giveaways and stuff like that, a lot of times you'll need your wallet, but the wallet is what you use to connect to all the different platforms, even the galleries and stuff like that. You use your wallet to connect to it. I use MetaMask for mine, and some platforms have their own specific ones that they require you to use. Foundation requires MetaMask. OpenC, I'm not sure if they require it, but they use MetaMask. So that's the one that I use.
Great.
And if you want more technical terms, I don't know if Vlad knows. I'm not a very technical person, so it's amazing that I have figured this whole world out.
No, the wallet basically it's like the crypto. I'm sorry, I missed the name. It's like he was referring to the wallet. It's what it makes the connection. Yeah. It's what makes the connection between the blockchain and all the Web3 factors. It means that the connection with the NFTs, with in the future with utilities that you can take from the blockchain, but because blockchain is not only NFTs is just a part of it. It's what we hear talk more about it. So basically the wallet, it's what makes the connection between the blockchain and the utilities and NFTs that came from it.
And one thing I want to highly suggest is, and it was suggested to me, and I've got one. I just got it in last week. I don't have it now. Is a hard wallet, so you don't keep everything on your on MetaMask. You transfer it to your hard wallet, which is called your ledger, and that's what I have now, and that helps prevent you from getting scammed and stuff from people, taking everything out of your wallet, because in your wallet is also your NFTs. And people, I just heard a story today about someone that was they got their wallet, their MetaMask wallet hacked or something, and they took all their NFTs. So you cannot put once those NFTs are on the blockchain, you cannot put your images as NFTs, those same images on the blockchain again. That's permanent. So they've lost all their work. They can't, all
Wow.
their work that they had that they had minted, so they can't put it back on. So they got so, you know, screwed, sorry, but they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
hardware wallet, it's very important when we start to collect, and we start to have much more work involved in the space. And hardware wallet is very important because it separates the possibilities from the browser, where our MetaMask wallet, it's active, to a physical thing that we have connected on our PC. So and as everything, not from each day, the things started to get more into the trends, that it gets to start to be more easier to be hacked, and it's, you need to be precautious about it.
great. So someone asks, how can you stop someone from stealing your image off a website and putting it as their own NFT?
I guess there's no way. There's no way. It will always have been like that in the matter of people stealing your images, and the NFT. It's no different. In the future, probably the platforms where we put our NFTs, we mint our NFTs. Probably they will start to be more. I have more attention to it. They will start to make things harder for people that do that type of stuff. But for now, there's no way we can do that. We can avoid that.
Well, and a lot of websites, I mean, people can't steal your images from there. I mean, as far as right clicking, they're not right clickable. So, but I mean, if someone wants to, they can.
Right. So either Leslie or Vlad, can you share what workflow you follow from start, from choosing an image, listing, promoting, etc.? What would you say the steps are, I guess?
So workflow. Choosing an image, that's always for me the most difficult part. I do so many different genres, so I have a hard time trying to figure out what collections I want to do, and what images I want to use. Um, but once you've got, that's a personal choice. Picking what your images, what images you want to use and stuff like that. Obviously, you want to go with your best ones, and then once you do that, then you choose your platform. Once you've chosen your platform, you upload the image. Once you've uploaded the image, then you mint it. You pay your gas fees, and then you choose what price you want to put it at, and then you list it, and you choose your royalties, how much royalty you want. I mean, I usually choose 10% for royalties for when the NFT sells again. And so then from there, I tweet it out, and I I suggest that because when people retweet it, if you don't, so you tweet it out and it'll come with a link, but instead of the picture that's used with the link, also add the picture itself, because when people retweet it, that they retweet the link and it won't show your image. So make sure you put an actual image with it. And that's your first step of promotion. And then from there, it's literally, I mean, it is so much work. I spend so much time on Twitter daily trying to not only promote my work, but also interact with my community. And it's a constant thing. And a lot of people get really burned out on it. A lot of people get frustrated with it, and they need to take breaks, because if your image doesn't sell, and it can take months for images to sell, and then boom, all of a sudden you'll sell out, or you'll sell 3, 5 in one day. So you just never know. But then I always try and go on at least 1 or 2 spaces a day and either listen and learn or talk or just at least make an appearance. And then, they start to see you. If you show up constantly, even if you're not talking, people start to notice you in the different spaces. And then I try to talk whenever I can. I'm doing a space tomorrow where I'm actually one of the speakers of the space. And I try to do a space daily, a couple of them. I also I belong to a lot of messaging groups, and we like to shill each other's work. So we talk a lot in our groups, and we shill each other's work, and we also tag each other. And I share their work daily. I compliment their work because I actually do love their work. And I tag them in different posts. A lot of posts will say tag 3 friends, and stuff like that. So I tag 3 friends. But even if it doesn't, it's always nice to show your friend's work, even if it's not asking for you to. So like on a post the other day, yesterday, I said, here's my work, but I really want you to check out my friend's work. And I tagged 3 people. You really should try to avoid tagging more than 3 to 4 people. It messes with the algorithm, apparently. There will be people that tag a lot, and occasionally you can do that, but try to avoid that. So, and that's basically my day. I'm on Twitter from first thing in the morning because nowadays I get so many notifications. And then, I mean, if you step away from Twitter for a couple hours, I mean, then you'll go crazy with all the notifications. And then I'm, I take a break for dinner and lunch and stuff like that. But, and I work on it a few more hours at nighttime. But yeah, I mean, I live on Twitter these days, and I never used to be like that. So I used to be a Facebook girl, and now I'm never on Facebook.
So speaking of Twitter, there's plenty of other questions, but people keep asking. So to appease the requests, just want to let you know that Leslie is at twitter.com/Leslie A. Spurlock.
Lovely.
And therefore Vlad is over at Vlad_Rodrigues, right? So, and we will be sharing more of their links later to Facebook, Instagram, etc. But once again, on Twitter, Leslie A. Spurlock and Vlad_Rodrigues. Great.
And I also follow everybody back unless it looks like a bogus account. So I'm really good at following back.
Great. So let's see. Technically, is it every object we list is a block in the chain? Reminds me of the Pink Floyd song, the brick in the wall.
I mean, I believe so. Vlad, you can take this. I'm not a huge technical person, like I said. So
Well, basically, not basically, for sure, when we interact with the blockchain in a way that when we mint and when we do the drop of the NFT or media to the blockchain, it is in the blockchain, and it is an NFT. It is because the data it's in there.
and it'll always be in there.
Yes, it will always be in there forever. There's no way to take it out.
So Stefan says some of this seems like a real gamble. How do you find the best communities trustworthy on Twitter? And then he asked what your handle is, like other people did. That's why I shared that earlier. But yeah, so how do you find the best communities on Twitter? And how would you find these spaces that you speak of?
As far as spaces go, a lot. Like on my phone, it used to be listed at the top. They had all the different spaces. Now it's going through something and it's not showing me the spaces up top. But there is a little icon down below, and it's got like I think 3 little circles, and you can click on that, at least on my phone, and that'll show you the different spaces that they have going on and the different subjects. And not all spaces have to do with NFTs. And there's got top spaces, they've got ones for yours and stuff like that. There are different ways you can search for if you want to narrow your community more. I know at the top of my Twitter, when I'm on my Twitter feed, it'll say like I can click on women in NFTs or something like that. But like I said, anybody that's involved in NFTs, I consider part of my community. As far as whether or not they're trustworthy or not, you can kind of gauge by checking them out on their posts out and their followers out and stuff like that, and whether or not they're legit as far as they claim to be like I'm going to buy three NFTs today, shill me or whatever. A lot of those are just farming for your follow, and for the interaction and to get other people to follow them and stuff like that. And they don't actually do that, but they will have like their OpenC account or something like that. And you can click on that and you can see if they actually do buy a lot of, a lot of people's work and stuff like that.
Great.
Yeah, Twitter itself, it's a thing that it's a different thing from other platforms, because the way Twitter works, the algorithm works, we can influence, we have influence over it. So it's not Twitter just throwing to ourselves what he thinks that we should see. We can teach Twitter to what we want to see. And after some time, that when we press the likes, when we comment, and when we retweet other works, we start creating that tendency, that streamline of Twitter, and you only see the what we are telling Twitter to show us. It's what we say, in part building our community. We doing that, being part active on Twitter, and with that people, that subject, the NFTs, the photography. It's what will build our Twitter, our feed, and our community.
Great.
And just I wanted to throw out before I forget, one good rule that I like to do is I shill maybe or retweet about three of my friends' work, and then I'll post something of mine on my Twitter, and then several other people's work, and then mine on Twitter, so that my main page is not constantly all of my stuff, or where no one can see your stuff at all. I do kind of a variety, so it's not either or.
Great. So Bobby, friend of mine, Bobby Thompson, photographer, he says, is foundation still invite only?
It is invite only, but I have heard that you can apply. I don't know how many people they accept that way. I've never known anybody that applied to it. They've all been invited. There are invitations that go around. In fact, there was one. I'm like I said, I belong to several different groups, message groups, and someone posted someone else's tweet today that they were giving away foundation invites. So they do give them out. Usually you have to show your work to them, and they will choose someone to give it to. I happened to just, for my invite, I was fairly new, but I had been showing my work and people liked my work. And this person that I didn't even know, I basically asked, how do I get an invite to foundation? And people were like, well, just keep doing this or whatever. And this guy came on, Corey Babstock, and I now own one of his NFTs, and he gave me an invite. All I did was ask, basically. So there's different ways. There's always people giving them out. I wouldn't say that they're easy to get, because they're not, but the more you're on Twitter, the more you'll see people, offering foundation invites, especially if you get involved in different messaging groups. A lot of, we look out for each other and stuff like that. And if someone needs one, we try and give them to them. So.
Okay, so Tammy says, is this something that is going to be around for a while, or is this just a passing fad?
Yeah, I think it's going to be around for quite a while. I think this is where the industry is completely headed right now. So it's going to be it's already starting to be the big thing, and it's going to get even bigger in my personal opinion. I think even I mean brands are getting involved and celebrities, and it's where the art world and a lot of the commercial world of photography is heading as well. So I think it'll just get bigger and bigger, and we're still at the beginning stages of it for the most part.
I
Yeah,
think
and
yes. I think it's here to stay, because I can give you a good example. One of the most attractive part of the NFTs for artists, not for the people that right click and save and create an NFT, but for the artists, musicians, painters, and photographers, it's that we I don't know the exact term, but we cut the intermediate people in between. For example, a musician, it always have need to have someone to edit the sound, to another one to do the marketing, another one to record. And when we enter into the NFT and the crypto and the blockchain, we are our brand. We do all the work. So I guess that's for big part of the artists that are in this in the space. That's the more relevant, and that's the most important part.
right. So Stefan asked, what are tax issues with NFTs? I mean, this must be declared, right?
Yes, it does need to be declared. And I had heard something about, I don't know where it was, something about 30%, but I don't know if that's correct or not. I think a lot of us are still trying to figure out the whole taxing and do you tax it on what the value was at the time and stuff like that. So I don't know. You do have to pay taxes on it for sure. I don't know. I'm not an accountant. I can't give you advice on that. I don't know for sure. I actually don't do my taxes. My husband does. So I'm leaving it up to our accountant and him to figure that one out. But I think a lot of people are wondering about that and definitely set aside money for taxes for this. So, Vlad, do you have any more insight? Of course, it's going to be different because you're in a different country and this is worldwide, you know?
Exactly, it varies where you are in what part of the world you are. Each country have different ways to deal with it. As now is becoming a big it's moving lots of money, and for example in Norway we only have two or three banks that allow the movements with crypto coins, for example. So in a way that every single bit of Ethereum that we transfer to that account, it's taxed. For example, in the States, I don't want to take for people to take this as a financial advice, because they always should do their research and talk with an accountant. But in the States, for what I know, they're above a certain limit of money. You have to declare it, and through that, you will have to pay your taxes. What is in the limb of what it will be taxed or no, it's the thing that every country by itself are trying to decide, because there's people saying that it will be taxed on each movement that you do on the blockchain. Chain doesn't matter if you are buying something, if you are just transferring to someone, or because when you move, money can be moved in different ways in the blockchain, when you acquire something or when you sell, and there's more factors to it. Every time you do, for example, you interact with the blockchain, you pay the so-called gas fees, because you are using money to make the computer that is processing the data on the blockchain to make that process. So you are using money. What the countries are will try to decide, it's when you pay the taxes, for what money, or what part of the money of the interaction that you will pay, if it is every single transaction with the blockchain, if it is just of the NFTs. That brings other questions too. When you sell your NFT, it will be, for example, imagine a collector. He buys your NFT as an investment. He buys you for a certain amount of money, and then he hopes that you as an artist, as an NFT artist, your works will rise in value, and at some point you will resell your NFT to make a profit from it. The thing is, will you pay taxes after you sell it? Because you will get royalties after on secondary sales. That's where the limbo is. But in the future, I guess more and more, I think the states, I think this year that we are on, they already start to put big laws on it. So I advise to contact with accountants and do the research very thoroughly.
Great. And let's see, Ebony says, I'd like to learn more about smart contracts too. Do I need to get my attorney friends to help?
Vlad, you're really into the smart contracts. I'm still looking into them. So do you want to discuss the smart
Want to take that
contracts?
one?
No, I don't, attorney. No, I don't. I don't think you will need an attorney. Why will you will need an attorney? A smart contract, basically, with a contract when we mint and we put something on the blockchain is created a contract. A contract, it's where it goes all the info, all all what it is, the NFT that you are selling, the basic contracts that the platforms are using. Each platform you can use a different type of contract that the platform itself creates for their needs, because when you create a contract, or when the platform creates a contract, it's written in the contract what media type you are selling, the royalties, where the royalties will be transferred, and so on. When you enter in the field of creating your contract, or on creating your smart contracts, it will open a more wide range of what you can put on the contract itself. It's there where you can create the NFT and the contract as an utility. You can like program the contract, the data on the blockchain, to something. You can divide the royalties for a different amount of people. You can put meta tag for example, of the JPEG that you are putting on it, or different types of medias. You can create an interactive piece with it. For example, you can create a JPEG where it changes at different times of the day, hours of the day, or months. You can make the contract itself interact in. I guess this is more for a future. Interact with machines, with different types of things. So a smart contract, it's different. It's different. But
And a nice thing about a smart contract, like this is what I learned from a space, that with the smart contract, like if I was to do a smart contract on Foundation, and I think they're requiring that now, then with the smart contract, you're not tied into just your stuff being on Foundation. You can move it around now that you have your own contract, and your NFTs are not tied to Foundation's contract anymore. So that's really nice. And one of the places, like the one that I'm looking at for a smart contract, is Manifold. And they have two different types of contracts on there. One's more for collections, and one is for individual NFTs. I believe for the collection one, you only have to pay the gas fee once. For the individual ones, you will be paying gas fee each time, and each time you'll be launching a new smart contract. At least that's what I have heard. So, but I don't think you should need an attorney. I mean, it's always good to have an attorney, but you shouldn't necessarily need one. But I'm not going to give that kind of advice. So,
Sure. So Barbara asks, what does it mean when you see someone say, check out my drop or her drop, or I dropped an NFT, I guess?
so that's when you drop a new piece or you drop a new collection. You've just put a new collection, that you've just minted and listed a new collection, or a new piece. And then when you see Genesis, that's your first one. So like my Genesis piece, I did a single image, and that was my Genesis piece. That was my first piece on Foundation. Um, and I had a Genesis collection on OpenC, but I still consider my Genesis to be my very first one that I did on Foundation. So, and a drop is basically, a new
Sure.
NFT.
So someone asks, would you put an image on Twitter before it's an NFT?
Oh yes, definitely. And that's one of the mistakes. Well, I did show my work on Twitter, but one of the things that, to me, a mistake that I made was not building up um, anticipation of my first drop. People will give, like, if it's a collection, they'll give a little preview and stuff like that. And um, most people do show their images before they become NFTs, unless they've sold out their first collection, and they'll just give hints about what's coming and stuff like that, and you may not see it until it makes its drop. Especially if you become one that can be on super rare. If you get invited to be on super rare, a lot of times, they'll build up the anticipation. You don't get to see the full thing until it actually drops.
Great. And it's getting a little personal now, but what have been your largest sales? Is this worth the effort?
Yeah. I mean, for me, I still got a ways to go. But my biggest sales have been 0.25. I haven't had any bidding wars yet, which I really look forward to that. But right now it's 0.25, but I've only been doing it since December. So I've
Mm.
sold 8. And on the resale market, the first person that bought the collector that bought my first NFT, she's also an artist, an amazing artist. She's an amazing person, and she bought my Tornado NFT, and she is now selling that on the secondary market for 6 ETH. So once that sells, and I will be upping my prices, because at that point I've kind of,
So,
my work sells for 6 ETH.
so putting that in like dollar realities, 0.25 you sold for how much and she's selling for how much now, would you say?
So at the time when I first sold my first few at 0.25, Ethereum was in the $4,000 range. So I netted about $900, something like that. And lately it's more like about $600 after the fees per image. Now keep in mind, these are also images that have been just sitting on my computer, not
Okay,
doing anything.
sure.
So.
But so you're saying though that you could sell for 4,000, but after all the fees, you only took 900?
Oh, no, 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 no. Because see, mine sold for I did mine at 0.25.
Right.
1 ETH would be 4,000 at the time. Now 1
Oh, okay.
ETH is probably around, I don't know, what is it today, 2,400 or something.
Right.
So, I mean, Ethereum has gone down, but we suspect it'll go back up. But at the time, it was in the $4,300 range. And so if I had sold it for 1 ETH, then it would have been, for $4,300 at the time, but I sold for
Sure.
0.25.
Right.
So, that's a quarter of that.
Great.
Yeah.
And how many NFTs have you sold already, both of you?
I've sold 8 so far. So, and which
Nice.
is, yeah, not too bad.
I sold one that
Nice.
to my first collector, Leslie. Was my first collector.
See?
This is where all my money's going.
Yeah,
So I've collected 9. So,
but it's a little relative where asking that question can vary a lot from people to people, and
Sure.
with the working that they have been doing after. Because today I sold one, but tomorrow I can sell my collection in one go.
Correct.
We never know. We can sell one every 6 months, or from day to night you sell
Sure.
30 pieces.
So someone asks, every time a minting selling happens, any legal obligation comes in, like an offline sell?
I don't understand that question.
Legal obligations? No, I think it's very important for
Maybe you have to sign something. I don't know what they're
no,
suggesting.
no. That commitment, it's, let's say, signed with your wallets.
Right.
When you create your wallet, when you buy something using your wallet is your insurer that it's your identity. If someone, for example, steals your wallet, you lose all your money, you lose all the investments, the pieces. So it's your wallet, all the there's no legal, we can say that it's some legal aspects of it, but the ownership and then all that comes with it, it's through your wallet.
And Crypto Academy says if you want to buy NFTs, buy them now. The crypto market is half the value it was at Christmas time.
That is true. That is very true. Yeah.
And Barbara asks, on OpenC, is there a duration that your items can be listed? Are they listed indefinitely until sold, or how does that work?
They changed that recently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They changed it to a month now.
Okay.
Before
Yeah.
it was 6 months, but now it's the 1 month limit.
We got someone just giving a heartfelt thanks to Leslie, Vlad, and me, Andrew, for this session. This really helps to understand the basics. Yeah, we're trying here. A lot of questions. And here's Barbara with another one. What's the difference between uploading a single image and a collection? Does a collection have to be related images? So, for example, can I upload 5 images? Is that someone's marking? So, for example, can I upload 5 images that are unrelated? Is that still a collection?
Well,
Vlad,
I can answer. Yes,
yeah,
I can.
will you take that, because I have someone at the door, so I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, there's different approaches to that. You when you create a collection, for example, on OpenC, you when you mint your first piece, it will automatically create a collection, but doesn't mean that it needs to be related between themselves. It will be important to specify on the collection itself if they are one-on-one series of pieces, or if they have a team in particular to be considered a collection with inside one team. For example, it differs a little between platforms, I guess. Now, for example, the foundation, they created a collection option too now, but before you only minted one of ones. It depends a little how what people you are trying to reach out for your potential buyers, the collectors itself, how you promote it, how you show you as a brand, as a photographer or a creator. It can depend a little over that. Some people like to create collections with a team on it, because with that you can specify how much numbers of pieces that collection will have, and with that you can create a timeline of the duration of your pieces. You can create a value standard for it, and with that you will approach a more specific type of people that are open to for you to buy.
Right. So someone says, I'm having a hard time setting up my wallet with a credit card. Do you have to use a debit card?
Oh, so if let me answer that, because I had this issue as well. So when I joined Coinbase, I was actually, we tried to use a credit card, and it wasn't working at all. And I had to use PayPal, and I just discovered yesterday, I guess, that I can actually use my credit card now. So I think, I don't know if you're new to Coinbase, maybe there's a holding period. Like for me, there was a holding period, and even a holding period on when I could transfer my wallet out. But that's my answer. As far, I don't know the difference between debit and credit card. Maybe someone else can answer whether or not you can use either or. But I know, like, at first I could only get it to go through with PayPal. So
Sure. Great.
There's banks that it will make you problems with that when you need to buy it and transfer it for your MetaMask. You can try, for example, for what I know, you can try crypto.com. I think it's an easy way to do it, because you can buy your ETH. Let's say if you want to go into the Ethereum, you can buy your ETH through the crypto.com using your credit or debit card, and then through there you send the coin to the MetaMask. You necessarily don't need to connect the credit card or debit card to the MetaMask itself. You can use different other types of sources like crypto.com, Binance, for example, to get your crypto coin, and then through there you send it to the wallet that you are using. In your case, MetaMask. So you can try other options.
Right. Let's see. So Barbara says, in relation to her previous question about collections, so what happens to it if it doesn't sell after a month, after you've put your work up?
Well, like most of mine were under the 6-month period on OpenC, and same with Foundation, and they just started doing the 1-month thing. So um, I personally don't know because I haven't experienced that yet, but I assume you just it should be still there minted. You just have to relist it, um, and I would assume for Foundation, if it hasn't sold after 6 months, um, then I would have to relist it and pay the gas fee there again. So.
Great. And Harini asks, can you tell me about Sloka? I'm not sure how you say
Sloika.
it.
Hi, Harini. So I don't know a ton about Sloika. I do have a friend that is now working there part-time, but I did just apply to Sloika. I
What
know
is
that
it?
it's Sloika is a platform.
Okay.
I'm not sure what crypto they use. I think is Sloika more environmentally friendly? I think it might be. It's a smaller platform, and so they have a lot of people applying and trying to get in, but they don't have room for all of them right now. But I did apply to there. Maybe Vlad knows more about Sloika than I do. I wish Kristen was here. Kristen could tell you all about Sloika.
No, I don't know. I don't know about Slack. There's becoming so much platforms nowadays. It's very good for people to don't put the eggs on the same basket, to have different works on different platforms, to expand a little more of the chances of you to create sales. But Slack, I still did study.
Yeah, and Sloika is, I think, a big up and comer. Like I said, it's still fairly small, and you do have to apply to get on there. And I think it's going to be one of the big ones coming up, but that's just my thoughts. So.
So Michael asks, can you still sell your photo on your own e-commerce site, even though the photo is selling as an NFT? It's a good question.
Yeah, I believe so, because you're selling a different version of your photo. So you have the full copyright. So I don't see what the issue would be at all there.
There's some collectors that can see something that stopped them from buying, because they want something that it's unique and individual. But it's not 100% a big problem, because as we talked before, an NFT, it's a unique piece, and what you have out of it, even if you if you sell prints and so on, it's another part of the business itself. There's only a small percentage, I believe, that will be more exquisite when they are buying NFTs, but there's no problem at it at all.
Well, and also a lot of collectors like the fact that if you're selling prints and you become popular that way, it increases the value of their NFT as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what is Coinbase? Someone asks.
I don't know technically what it is. It's where I buy and sell my cryptocurrency. And then from there, I move it into my wallet, but it's a place to buy and sell cryptocurrency.
Right.
It's like a bank, like a
Yeah.
bank.
Sure. And difference between Foundation versus Sloika. I'm not sure how you say it exactly.
Sloika. Well, I
Sloika. I
don't
guess
know
I said it right.
all the differences right now because like I said, I don't know a ton about Sloika. I don't even know what crypto they use. But I mean, it's smaller than Foundation, and you don't need an invite because you apply to get on there. So, I mean, you have to be accepted, but you can't. I don't think they have invites per se. It, Crypto says it's an exchange. What?
You know,
I don't know when it comes to choosing a platform, as there's a couple of now a couple of them that we can choose. We should do our research in the matters of what are we going to sell, what type of art are we going to put in there, how that platform is accepted between the persons that go there. For example, we know that OpenC it's more open to people to put their works there. Foundation it's a little more exclusive because you need an invite. So for example, between Foundation and OpenC, on Foundation you will find pieces with that are have more value on it. Not necessarily 100% true of that, but you see pieces selling there that are more valuable, or they are, people ask more money for it than we have it on OpenSea. So it's a question of do the research, look what is being sold, the prices that have been sold, and to see where is our niche, where we can put ourselves with the works that we give.
great. And Zatonya, I think you would say it, Zatanya, says, do you get our federal copy? I guess, do you get your federal copyright protection prior to minting or sharing online for each image or collection? Have you heard of others doing this? So I guess they're basically asking, do you copyright protect your images before
Oh.
you then start selling as NFTs, I guess?
I mean, technically, once you take the picture, you automatically own the copyright. I suggest for your own sake to copyright it through the government, and you can do it in batches from what I've heard.
And they also ask, would this be something that could allow you to charge more for your individual art or collections? And then thanks to us all. Yeah.
I don't know if it would. I don't know. That's a good question. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I think you have to find, how can you have to build it up. Because if you go into this market, and you see you charge, let's say, one hit for $4,000 for a piece, some people will say, why I will pay 4,000 or one hit for this particular piece. That's
Sure.
what Leslie referred before. We have to start climbing up the trend, our collectors, to building up the value on us
Well,
before.
and I don't know necessarily that copyright would make your value more or less. And keep in mind, I don't know how it works in other countries, but you're working with worldwide. Um, so I don't know how copyright works in other countries at all. And in fact, most of my friends in Twitter are actually from other countries. So I don't know if they do how the copyright works over in those countries.
Right. Okay. Let me see here. So looks like we're at a good point. We're finally caught up on the questions.
Yay.
And I think you've been answering a lot of great questions, a lot of good answers. And even with all that has been said, I think it's very clear that you also have to do your research. So,
Yes,
do check,
definitely.
check what that, what's it called? The gas prices, check what Ethereum is at, check, who do you trust, check out the news too, right? It'd be wise to follow, NFT and crypto news to find out in general if someone who you basically trusted and you were going to put your work on might be going through some weird legalities or something that happened, right?
Right.
So I want to say thank you so much. This is a very info-packed live event, and so therefore, to remind everyone, it sounds like a good platform to be on is also Twitter. So Twitter is kind of like a good knowledge base and a good way to connect with other people. So once again, Leslie is at twitter.com/A Spurlock. Vlad is at Vlad_Rodrigues. And I think I'll join the mix, and twitter.com _DigitalArtDrew. So I need to jump into this NFT world more. So
Yes, you do.
please feel free to connect me to other things that you want me to know about NFTs on Twitter, DigitalArtDrew. And then on Facebook, Leslie's at Leslie Spurlock Kinser. And you can also follow her website, lesliespurlock.com. For Vlad, he's also on Facebook at Vlad Rodrigues, and Instagram, Vladimiro Rodrigues, or Vladimiro.Rodrigues. And then please follow my new group, Creatives Monetize, brand new group dealing with these type of subjects, NFTs, branding your work, getting feedback on thumbnails for your videos, questions about showing in an online or in-person gallery. Hopefully this pandemic will go away soon enough and we can also show in real physical galleries sometime soon too. And then let's see, a couple more comments. Scott says, thanks to everyone for this presentation.
Thank you.
Rhonda says, just followed. Maybe everybody, don't know who. Let's see. Thanks for putting this on. It answered a lot of questions. Yep, that was our hope.
Good.
And Ebony says, thank you all so much.
Peace, everybody.
So what is a good first step after this video? And I think kind of just summarizing, I would say get on Twitter if you're not already on Twitter. Do a search for NFT people. Do connect with Leslie and Vlad on Twitter. Connect with me on Twitter. Look for NFT focused spaces on Twitter and do some good Google searching on these different subjects and themes that you've heard in this live. Mark says, thanks. C Kicks says, great job, you guys. Thanks for putting your time in to help the community. Michael says, thanks. Little Kangoo Media Production. It was a great listen to you guys.
Hey, Kangoo.
And Rhonda is at Rhonda_photo art. So follow Rhonda as well. So yes, thanks everybody. And also there will be more and more lives, various lives throughout each month, throughout the years. So please subscribe for my digital art, Photoshop, and photography focused live streams and tutorials, my YouTube, youtube.com/digital artist Andrew Kavanagh, or just go to YouTube, search for digital artist Andrew Kavanagh. And for sure, I will have Leslie and Vlad come back and do another one. Maybe we talk about like a specific NFT or something, get into different specifics of the NFT reality. So, yeah.
All right.
Crypto Academy says, great insights, guys. Thanks.
Okay.
Malay says, thank you. Harini, thank you, guys. Tammy, yes, thanks. And let's see. Lots of smiles there. Great. One last thing. Just started my Twitter. Can we get everyone to follow each other? Yes. So, follow us all and we'll follow back. And just do searches for other people in the Twitterverse, NFT universe, So yeah, thank you so much, Leslie and Vlad. And, everyone make sure to please go back and watch the recording. Plenty to take in, watch it, take notes, do your research, and follow up with us and let us know when you made your first NFT sale.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
thanks, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks you, Andrew.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
everybody.
Andrew.